Those blue glasses are sick. Okay, tell the story.
Thank you. So they're actually from my brain doctor. I have an interesting health situation. He's basically like a neurochiropractor guy, and he developed this before the blue light thing was cool, like to know how to block them. So that's when he developed them. And so when I first started using them, I had a lot of brain inflammation that I was trying to decrease. And so he's like, okay, you have to wear them all the time, but I get to pick out my style. Yeah. So then I got some like sweet aviator for like bright blue glasses, and I had to wear them all the time.
So how did you learn about brain inflammation? How did you learn you had it?
So yeah, there's like a full story with this, but I can give you the lowdown a little bit. So I went to school in Ohio and was there for just about a year and a half. I played volleyball there, everything like that, and came home halfway through my sophomore year due to some really severe health issues. Yeah. So when we came home, we realized I had really intense Lyme disease, what we thought was just Lyme disease.
Can I see those glasses? Can you hand me those
glasses? Look at all the little accessories on them, too. They're good.
Yo, these are some librarian grannies right here.
But they're cool granny ones.
Yeah, these are dope. Dude, nothing stops.
And you know, I have the little clips on the side.
Oh my gosh, why?
Because when I'm wearing my regular glasses, but I still want like more intense blue light blockers versus just what kind of the weak stuff from the eye doctor. So that I double glasses it, and I hook the things. What do you call that? The side bars that go over your ears. I hook them together with hair clips.
Really?
Yeah.
Are you able to take me serious right now?
Yeah, I mean, I'm used to this, but you might have to.
I feel like I will never get a seizure in these things.
Yeah, for real though. You could wear those to like cool concerts and stuff. You'd look cool, and it'd protect your brain. And
I'd be able to tell people where the Malcolm Gladwell books are.
I don't know what that is.
He's an author.
Oh,
okay. Just go down there to the left. I promise they're down there.
That's funny thing of librarian with those.
I think just because of the thing right here.
Oh yeah.
You know,
kind of agree. I really am like a grandma at heart though.
The dangles.
In many ways.
Why do you say that?
Old soul, baby.
Is it your spirit? Yeah.
And absolutely my spirit. And I just love old people. Okay, I'm definitely. Is anyone else like this? I'm more of a. I don't do kids. I like old people. Like I just,
You like mentors instead of being a mentor.
Yeah. And I feel there's something I think with just I like other people with a lot of life experience also, and kind of bonding over that and realizing that age is just a number. And I used to joke for a while too. Some of my best friends are in their 80s, and it's just really fun that way. And I don't know. I like old people. I was like, can I just skip the whole like raising children phase and just be an awesome grandma?
Well, I love knowledge.
Yeah.
So that's why I've always latched on to elders. Like I just interviewed a couple weeks ago the Sisters of Assisi Heights down at Mayo Clinic in Rochester. And they're all women in their 70s and 80s. And what they exude is they found it in life. This essence. We talked about the essence of life and spirit. And you can just tell it radiates off them. Where the only thing that has gotten them there is time. And then work along the way. And I think that's why I gravitate towards elders as well, because there's a calmness to them.
Yes.
That they survived the hustle and bustle. Because have you ever been to Los Angeles?
No, not yet.
Okay, try being on a rooftop with a bunch of hustlers in downtown Los Angeles. You're not going to get a lot of words in, and if you do, they ain't listening because of the hustle and bustle. But you sit down and have coffee with grandma or grandpa, and they're constantly there. They're present in the moment, listening to you A and B. Their mind isn't elsewhere.
Yeah, I like that.
It's
so true, and how they've kind of grown to not be immune to the noise, but a little bit where they're like, this crap just doesn't matter anymore. Like they just, I like how they're able to just boil things down to, okay, but you guys, this is what matters. And I feel like that's really calming for people in our generation.
It's so true. They're able to simplify things where we just like, sometimes we catch ourselves kind of over stressing when there's actually a simple answer. And it is take a step back. Cause that's what they always hit you with. Even our parents were like, calm down, take a step back. Everything will be okay.
For sure.
And I find myself telling my daughter that when she's having a fit. She's 18 months old.
Oh, is she? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So when she has a fit, that's where kids are so stuck in the moment. So that means things mean more to them in the moment, where there's the ups and downs because they're just there. And I find myself just breathe. It's okay. Okay, go play with your blocks.
Yeah.
You know,
Totally.
Everything is all right.
I love that.
We brought you here today to your own house.
Yeah.
You brought us to your house, but we really brought you here to talk about this self-proclamation you made to me. Nick, I am a first date expert. That has a lot of weight to it. Because one, when the word expert is in anything, whatever. This is one I was just thinking so hard about, this interview. And I was talking to people about what I was about to undertake.
That's awesome.
And they all consistently would ask me, well, you have to ask her, where does she get off thinking she's a first date expert? Not in a bad way, but like, how could you possibly be a first date expert? Is it tons of first dates? Is it psychology? You're very good with psychology and understanding whether it be the opposite sex, same sex, just a situational manner of a first date. What could possibly constitute you as a first date expert?
That is a great question. So I have been on this journey for a little while, and I think it's a combination of a lot of the things you just mentioned. So experience, tons of studying and psychology, and honestly just a fascination with it. And I just love becoming a student of the game. And within that, so within the whole study of modern dating in general, and then the study of psychology, and then holistic health and everything like that, I really believe it all ties together. And I've just found this niche of, we can't talk about relationship problems if most of my clients can't even talk to a girl.
Yeah.
So they're like, yeah, okay, like, let's, there's all of these like healthy relationship things to learn about. Awesome. They're like, yeah, but like, I'm so far from there, I can't even get there. And so it's honestly kind of found me I've been doing this for years.
Yeah.
Just decided to streamline the process a little bit, but so I mostly work with men. And so with the men that have been in my life, and mostly just always just friends and stuff, I've kind of been the sister to everybody, and then it's been fun. They just bounce things off of me, and I add a little nudging guidance as they go. But yeah, I've just really found a fascination with the first date and how to get to that point, because once you're there, so much, then the world is your oyster a little bit, but that can be the toughest part, is just getting there, and also knowing when you're there, kind of being familiar with it enough so that you can put yourself in a position to succeed.
Do you find yourself being a confidence curator as well?
Absolutely.
Especially dealing with men, where it's beyond getting to the first date, meeting up, picking her up, whatever that may be. It's, how are you even going to get to that point?
Yeah.
So much has to happen. It's mental.
Absolutely.
And we see it nowadays, where we live in a comparative society, and I talk about this quite a bit, how whether it be men towards other men or women towards other women, where we feel we're insecure, not good enough, and we see that a lot, where like the statistics of male suicide, a lot of that is they can't attract the opposite sex.
Yes.
And it's not that they can't, it's that mentally they think they can't. And that is a hurdle. Someone like yourself, Lord bless your soul, tackling it, because you could actually help prevent so many other issues, such as depression, things like that, if you can just get past that hurdle. And that's why I brought up psychology, because I kind of knew coming here today we would probably be talking more about psychology and not so much first date experience, because it is the mecca. It's the root.
Yeah, well said. Well said. It's such a big picture. It is holistic. There's so much that goes into it. And confidence coach, and what I talk about most in my kind of just life coaching in general, is limiting beliefs. Which is exactly what you just said. And how many limiting beliefs are just crippling for people, and it's just damaging to the rest of their lives. And so addressing those, we just start a ripple effect of positive change.
Do you find yourself digging deep into like their childhood and possible traumatic episodes that might have happened?
100%.
So in regards to the first date experience, how do you get past the awkwardness for these guys who are already battling psychological demons that don't need to be there, and then they're off-putting to a female because they're so awkward? Do you notice that, or like have to like, okay, well, let's get you back on Tinder and let's keep swiping right so we can take more bats up at the plate?
It's so it's a process that I have, and it's a 4-step process that I take I think we all do it in life. And I actually just talked a lot about this in the course I just launched, which is exciting, but it's the process I take people through where we all just need to get it in our heads that this is how we need to approach life and approach growth. Is we attempt, assess, adjust, attempt again. So you try something. Okay, how'd it go? Take an assessment. What kind of adjustments need to be made? And then we attempt again. And so it's so simple, and we do it in so many areas of life. But
is the attempt again process, does that vary between possibly the same female or possibly a different fish?
I'd probably recommend a different fish.
Okay.
Yeah.
I got you.
I like that.
Let's just keep
Throwing the hook out. I don't know. Maybe I got to change my bait. I don't know.
Well, that's the thing. It's like if you, so many of these people, they're like just the really awkward ones. Okay. God bless them. I am very close to many of them. And to a handful of my clients, I'm literally the only female they can talk to.
Really?
Which is hard. And it's a big responsibility, but.
Well, let's not undermine therapy.
Yeah.
Because,
absolutely.
And that's where, like, you're in a nutshell. That's why I say, Lord bless your soul, because you are playing therapist as well. And I found myself doing this in some conversations as well, whether it be off the record or on the record with people, because I consult as well. So it's more so than anything, you're a therapist. What are these hurdles? What has brought about these hurdles? That's why I bring up childhood, and why we're bringing Gabor Mate here to Minnesota. He'll be on the show next week because he's a behavioral psychologist, and all of this is behavioral psychology. And if we go into how we were raised, our upbringing, you know, a lot of people who are like reckless single parent households, okay, whether it be promiscuity with their sexual relationships or just risk taking in general, that's where they've seen the numbers from single parent households. And then you have people who have had possible horrible breakups, things like that. That'll ruin either sex in varying ways.
Totally.
What kind of trauma have you had to help somebody jump through without breaking HIPAA law?
Well said. That's very well said. Also with everything you said. I refer a lot. I don't want to bite off more than I can chew. And because I'm not a licensed therapist, I'm a certified life coach, which has its own kind of thing. And I do have
You have an Instagram, don't you?
Oh, yeah.
You're licensed in my eyes.
Oh. Sorry.
When you sit down with Stationary Astronaut, it's an experience.
Oh my goodness. I don't even know what to say to that.
Just let it happen, Katie.
So I do
You refer a lot?
I do refer a lot. And I have, for my individual clients, I help them check a policy and everything like that, saying I recognize Katie is not a licensed medical professional, so therefore, I'm not liable. But also with the smaller scale things that I do feel like I can tackle. So a big one that I work with, I'm really involved in a lot of what I call kind of the Christian community. And I have experience in what we would probably call the Christian bubble. Yep. Went to a very small conservative school in Ohio and learned a lot. As mostly in regards to my business now, I learned a lot about the backgrounds of those type of people and now pairing it to the struggles they currently have. And so what I've seen a ton is
middle-age awkwardness.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. And but it kind of boils back to I have a client, bless her soul, she's amazing. And I just think she's the coolest person ever. But she literally went to a private school growing up where they could not walk in the same hallway as boys. And she's like, okay, well, yeah, right. So, and so it's like, that's really damaging. And that's really, traumatizing in its own way. But so then how are you supposed to have healthy relationships with males if this whole time you're like, oh, they're off limits. No. And now you're like, well, now I'm mid-20s and can't even get a date because I can't talk to them, or I don't know how to interact with them properly.
I am noticing that while I raise a little daughter, where whatever I say no to, she wants to do. And I think of my own rebellious ways growing up. And it was just, it kind of like looking back, it's self-explanatory. Like if we limit and persecute, that's where our rebellious minds, whether you came from a 2-parent household or not, healthy household or not, it doesn't matter. It's like we're wired to take risks and experience and experiment during certain ages. That's why they call college your experimental phase.
Right.
And it's so true. And it doesn't discriminate in how you were raised.
So true.
You just want to experience. So that's why I really applaud kids who come from small towns or deeply faith backgrounds, and they come to the city and they let their freak parade run down the street, not to a dangerous extent, but you're still experiencing because you owe it to yourself, you know. And that's where the fathers who raise daughters, my favorite ones, like my father-in-law, he just like trusts his daughters to make the right decision. And as a father raising a daughter, I want to get to that point too, where I'm going to allow her, if she does say the F word, I'm not going to demonize her. We're going to say, okay, we don't do that, and you definitely don't do that in church, and you definitely don't say that to your teacher. Don't, please limit that word. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna, because that's what it is, dude. Like, who's got this funny joke? Kevin Hart has a funny joke about he would always like tell his kids, don't swear. And then he overheard his kids in another room, and right when he leaves the room, that's where they just let the F-bombs hang. And it's like, well, I mean, it kind of, as you raise kids, you know, like if I say don't do it, they want to do it. And they want to experiment and experience. Why is dad saying don't do that?
And so would you say, as a parent and as just kind of with that mentality, how do you go about that?
You're towing a tightrope at all times. So kids go through moods because they live on a momentary basis.
Right.
So feeling out your child where they're at and understanding that, it takes time, and no parent is perfect, and anyone will tell you that. But it just literally takes trial and error. Your 4 A's. Just keep getting back up to bat and knowing that you're thickening your skin when you do that. Same thing with like my daughter. When my daughter has her first heartbreak when she's 16 or 17, I get to relay back to dad's time in high school. You know what I'm saying? And say, guess what? This was meant to happen. The silver lining effect. This was meant to happen because it allows you to grow. And I think your 4 A's really plays into that, where it's like, dude, you're going to get bumps, you're going to get bruises, you're going to have awkward moments. But the thing is it's so you can someday reach your soulmate. I don't know.
Totally. I love that. Well said. Thank you.
Are you just going to fluff me up this whole time, Katie?
Sorry. I keep doing the screech of the microphone.
What are you going to be for Halloween?
Okay, so we talked about my dog Ollie. Okay, so I take my puppy parenthood very seriously, and I tried it when he was like a puppy, and I wasn't quite prepared enough. So now I'm like waiting for the moment. His breed, so he's a doodle. He's a mini sheepadoodle, which is an Old English sheepdog poodle mix. And the best part is he looks like a little lamb, and he's also like a doodle. So my like signature Halloween costume is Little Bo Peep, but the mystery of Little Bo Peep's lost sheep. So then Ollie has like these like wanted signs on him, and then I'm just a Little Bo Peep.
Oh my God!
Isn't that so good?
Did you go to a Christian college? What were the parties like?
They didn't exist. That's the Christian college I was at. Yep.
What? Wait a minute. I thought you were going to say something totally different. I thought for sure, Nick, they were insane.
Well, okay, let me elaborate. So, okay, so I respect it a lot, and I do love a lot of the
They
people.
didn't exist.
But, yeah, okay, so I have a lot of mixed opinions about my college experience for many, 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 many reasons. It was a dry town, first of all. So
Okay.
dry campus, dry town.
Yep.
Which was great. And where I was at in that point in life too, I was young, and went from big public high school to now I'm going to a conservative small college, and I was really looking forward to that contrast. In hindsight, it's not like I was actually even invited to parties in high school or anything either. So it's not like I was like that at all. It was just very different. But I had like the good kid parties, I called it. Is the joke. You
guys drank like
juice boxes, right, Tom?
fizzy water and Capri Sun.
For sure.
We mixed them together to catch a buzz, man. Buzz with fuzz. You know what I'm saying?
Actually, it's not far from the truth. So, at the college,
We would throw Mentos in Coke bottles. You know what I mean? We'd get crazy. You know what I mean?
it was just funny though, because it wasn't really like that much of a thing. And it's just so we didn't even have a football team.
Yeah.
Which is interesting, but also they say too at colleges that'll kind of adjust to culture a little bit, having big male sports teams in a way.
Yeah.
And then
That jock mentality.
well, kinda.
I was thinking that like the college you went to might have produced a lot of nuns.
It's quite literally like both of the extremes. So what you were probably kind of going for with the question initially is that, I mean, I know the parties existed and I know all that stuff. I just wasn't at a place where I was seeking them out really. I know, young adults.
Ashley, Tiffany, Becky, Grace, what are you doing? Oh my gosh, where'd you get that? That could get us in trouble.
It would literally. So when kids got caught with stuff, they like basically got kicked out of the school.
Really?
Yeah, it was really bad. I know.
Well, it is a dry town, and I bet
Yeah.
that school probably had influence on that.
Oh, for sure.
You know,
Yeah.
staying a reality, if not becoming a reality, which is totally understandable because Brigham Young, for instance, could you imagine the amount of debauchery that goes on in the caverns of Brigham Young? Where on the surface, no, we're good boys and girls, virgins and da-da-da-da, but guaranteed their freak parade.
Yeah.
Trolls down the street, tromps down the street,
Yeah.
guaranteed.
Yeah.
But that's the rebellious phase that kids are inevitably in.
Yeah.
It's just to what extreme,
Yeah.
you know?
And I think too, it's with having those harsh no's, it like we see in so many areas of the world and of life, it's like by making it so off limits. I mean, we all know it's still going to go on, but then it just makes it more dangerous and more damaging. And then more, I just really struggled with just a lot of the rules and like, okay, so and this school.
I feel like when you
Like-
talk to me, sometimes you're like talking to your dog.
Oh, okay. Oh, you're so cute. No.
Look at that boy.
I talk to Ollie very differently.
That's why she's a great first date expert. Oh, you're so cute. She just butters them up to the point.
Always-
She's the best at first dates. She butters me up.
always call grown men cute too. That goes very well.
Do a lot of cheek pinching.
My inner
They
grandma
might be
comes
80
out
years
there.
old.
Yeah.
What? It's my type.
Right. Gross.
Okay, so
But I was just gonna say briefly is that because of a lot of the people that I work with too, like there's such a struggle because I think living in that tight bubble can really damage a lot of things. And it went from so as a volleyball player, we had very strict rules even of like a lot of people don't even like us because heaven forbid volleyball players wear spandex. And you're like, okay, that's literally the sport, man. Like
Yep.
what do you want from us?
Yep.
And yet we were like, ooh, the rebel girls on campus. And you're like, we're not walking around parading, but we're just trying to do our thing. You know, so it's just really awkward in that way. Or like we had a lot of dress codes. Like we weren't allowed to wear leggings and things like that. And so I was like known as one of the like really rebellious kids there. Yeah, right? Coming from who I was like, this is good kid Katie, sir. Like known as the goody two shoes. And so that was really damaging in a lot of ways also to be like, wait a second, now people just think I'm this bad kid just because I have a public school background, which again, I was the goody at the public school. So it's not like, so that's a lot of what we were working with. And most of that, I think it was like 50% from the school was like homeschooled, came from homeschool background. And then
you were, as a first date expert or becoming one, that's like the mecca.
Oh yeah.
To be there because you can help so many people.
Well, that's the thing. It's like, it's mostly helped the people as they get out of there and they realize the real world doesn't work like that. And they weren't successful in that bubble. And then they get out in the world and like, oh, these same rules don't even apply. So what do I do? How do I navigate? And so that's actually a huge, my clientele are my old friends from college because they're like, okay, wow, I'm trying to be a normal adult now. And I realize that it's not like that. And so, yeah, especially the homeschoolers. I love helping out the homeschoolers because God bless them. I liked it. So at the school also, we picked on them a lot out of love because it's just socially things are just very different.
And their haircut was always 10 years behind.
No.
They still wore Aeropostale in 2016.
Right. Oh, for sure. Yep.
Dude, put it away, please.
I actually saw a lady today wearing. So do you say Aeropostale? We always said Aeropostale. Is there?
I thought it was Aeropostale.
Okay.
I don't know.
But I saw someone today wearing one of the zip ups with the big labels. And I was like, that brings me back to like 5th grade.
It says Aero. It's like, listen, lady, stop it. They've already rebranded. Try it yourself. Okay, so I have to know how many first dates you would consider that you have been on.
Let me tell you about.
You better say like 500.
Well, okay. Let me tell you about a very special summer I had. That was very interesting.
Like
and so how I kind of got rolling with all of this is at college, I started dating someone. He was my first real boyfriend. And
at college?
Yeah.
Were you guys in dorms?
What do you mean?
Did you live in dorms?
Yeah.
You had a boyfriend while you were in dorms?
Yeah. Well, and we also weren't allowed in like the opposite sex's dorms ever.
Literally had to meet each other by the printer in the library.
That's kind of what we were working with though. So it was
meet me by the printer. I'm going to print out Martha Stewart. You print out the first lady. We'll meet by the printer. So what was it like?
So dating someone at that school or
all the above. Okay. You had a very interesting summer.
So, okay, let's just jump ahead. So it's fine. So a lot went into, so this relationship there were a lot of red flags in the beginning.
Was he homeschooled?
No.
Okay.
But went to like a small school and had a kind of pretty sheltered background, I would say. But good egg. Yeah. He's a good guy. But there were some red flags in the beginning, but with the pressure of small schools, especially Christian schools, the whole, like the ring by spring, if you've heard that before. Okay, so.
Oh, better have a ring by spring.
Yeah, like basically, like the joke is you go there to like, oh, where's husband? Yeah, so that messes with you anyways, right?
Yeah. It's expected out of you.
Oh, for sure.
Yep.
And at one point, I kid you not, I was the only single person on the volleyball team. And I was like, and of course I had all my expectations just really high going into college. And I was like, here we are going to the Christian school, going to find a husband and it's going to be great. Which now I'm very thankful all of that did not end up happening. But at one point I was literally the only single person on the volleyball team. And it was just so funny where I was like, I mean, like it's fine. But also people were like, oh, don't worry, Katie, you'll get snatched right up. And I'm like, well, looking around, well, I don't see anybody lining up. So then this person came around and he was like, well, he was tall and a basketball player and all these things. And so I was like, well, all right. So it just rolled with it enough.
We could have some kids end up in the NBA.
Yeah, so the joke with tall girls is we just like breed star athletes.
In a nutshell, you do. Fucking jealousy. Okay, anyways.
So we started dating and I just didn't really know much. And so I was like, okay, this must be fine. And so we just kind of kept dating. We dated for almost 2 years. And when we broke up, we were kind of at the point where we're like, okay, we either get engaged or we don't. Mm-hmm. And keep in mind, we're very young at this point, but this was the normalcy around us. And so fortunately, we realized like, okay, we're actually not a great fit for each other. We should stop. And we were doing big time distance too, which did not help. But that wasn't the main reason. So we're like, okay, we need to break up. So I was devastated after that because here I am thinking we're gonna get married, and in my head and my heart, we were basically getting like already married, and so that was obviously devastating to lose. And then after a couple months of grieving that, I was like, you know what? I am no longer going to become a victim to my own naivety. And that's what happened. Is like, I just didn't know any better.
Yeah.
And so then I just got wrecked when really I saw all like so many of these red flags in the beginning. And that's what they say oftentimes too. But after that, I was like, you know what? I need to start learning. I don't know anything about, I really don't. I think I know stuff about dating, but I don't really. And I don't know much about boys. I grew up with all sisters, all volleyball teams, all whatever. So I'm like, who are these boys? Who are these creatures that I don't understand?
Who are these other avatars?
And so that's when I discovered dating apps. And
You abused them, didn't you?
well, that summer I went freaking hard in the paint, you guys. Like, it was amazing.
You let your freak flag fly. Let's go.
And it was so amazing. I've been fortunate enough to go on dates with many, many quality people, which is cool. And some less quality. And so it was just so fascinating to learn along the journey. And I just went on tons of dates. I was like, my goal here is just to meet people and learn things, learn about myself. And I did. And so I went on, that summer alone was easily over 20 first dates in one summer, which recently someone told me, Katie, that's not actually that many. And I was like, I mean,
that's
okay.
actually a decent chunk though.
It's like, I mean, I did like double headers.
What? No.
Like I literally went on a date with someone.
You were swipe right and Magoo
Then I like went so the thing is none of these were Tinder dates or anything either. They were more like the more sophisticated dating apps.
Match.com must be 35 and below, must make 120K a year. How
Farmers only. Just kidding, I wish.
You wish.
Find me a cowboy. That's just kidding.
Find me a cowboy. Well, actually, you would really love this t-shirt we're about to make.
Oh no, what is it?
You ready?
Yeah.
It's called, we don't know the order yet.
Okay.
But it ends with Yehaw. So
I'm
it's
so excited.
White Claws, no bras, Yehaws, or no bras, White Claws, and Yehaws.
I'll be like a brand ambassador for you or something. Yeah, there you go.
Because everyone's like, everyone's going braless.
Yeah, yeah.
It's White Claw season always now, and then Yeehaw, because that means you're having a good time.
Oh my gosh.
Could you imagine all the bros at Country Fest wearing that on a tank top?
That'd be hilarious.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't know, just an idea. Our last guest wasn't feeling it though.
No.
She was not feeling it.
I mean, at some point, I'm all about respect women and things like that too.
Yeah.
I would wear it just because I feel like
It's just funny.
it's funny.
Yeah.
And I mean, hey, I support the no bra stuff and all that jazz. Like, why
freedom,
not? So,
freedom,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
We're looking for empowerment. Mm-hmm. What better way to empower yourself than freedom?
Yeah. Anyways, so I'm all about it. I'll be a little brand ambassador for you with the
Thank
shirt.
you.
Got
Let's
it.
go. Okay, so you went on a lot of first dates. Yeah. I'm sure you probably experienced the gamut of like that awkward got to turn your head because this dude thinks he's going to get a kiss, or going down the list of where they like blew their chances of a second date or like possibly building a relationship with you. Was there a lot of awkwardness?
Yes.
What was the kind of demographic dude or guy that you found the most awkward?
Ooh.
Because I'm sure there's probably a honey hole. Maybe. I hope.
I would say the ones that now fall under my clientele category, which would be kind of just coming from a sheltered background.
Yeah.
Yeah. And having, it's not that they're overly insecure. It's just, it's like a lack of confidence. It's a lack of certain skills, a lack of awareness, a lack of familiarity with either women or dates or, or malteaching in general.
Tell us the importance of a good story.
As far as when to tell on a date, or
No, just like, because I know through experience, you know you got them and you know they got you when they're able to tell you a good story, because that's where there's confidence in the room, where it's like, I don't care, I'm going to tell you this story because it's funny as shit or whatever. You know what I'm saying? That's how I feel first dates are always the most successful, where there's stories being told and you kind of have this empathetic checker game going on where, oh my gosh, that happened to me too, let me tell you.
Yes.
And then like the vibes are just high.
Yes.
So that's why I ask the power of a good story on a first date.
Spot on. I think you just kind of nailed it.
Do you need a consultant for your first date business?
What do you mean?
Well, I was just gonna say I'll help you
Like,
if you're ever dealing with a weirdo you just can't
Oh.
get through. Well, okay, yep. We'll tell him to hit the gym. We're gonna need him to lose the glasses, contacts.
Yeah,
on.
literally. You could be like the bearer of bad news. Like you're the brutally honest brother. I'm like the non-judgmental sister. There we go. So I'm like, it's okay. Like we'll guide you through this. And you're like, listen, bro, you gotta shape up in these ways. I think we just started a beautiful
Who's that
partnership.
info at Stationary Astronaut that CC'd in this email? Well, I had to bring in reinforcements. It just ain't getting through your thick skull.
Clearly. I love that.
You know, it's like, because some guys, like I've seen this where they think that if they go get a dog or a cool truck or whatever, that's going to be the end all be all. No, all of a sudden I'm a lady getter.
Yeah.
Dude, you're still freaking weird.
Yeah.
You're still weird. Like that didn't change.
Yeah, for sure.
Because you got this nice job, and that's like, yes, that's a great thing for security, and it's a good start, but you got to realize, Daddy-O, you ain't going to be procreating.
For sure. Well, yeah, that doesn't mean...
You ain't going to be. That's a cute German Shepherd you got there. How many ladies is it pulling? Oh, you're still sitting at home with 4 buddies watching the hockey game, drinking Budweiser? Well, do the math there, bro. Your dog's getting older and you ain't getting no ladies.
Yeah. Well said. And just because we have certain successes in life doesn't mean we then know how to have proper body language. We know how to interact well, and then the makeups of interacting with someone and what makes a good first date. And there's something you just said that I wanted to say.
Don't wear camouflage on first dates.
Why? Just in general?
Dude, don't wear camouflage on first dates. You freaking weirdo, dude. Lose the camouflage. For one day, bro, put your hunter's orange away,
You
dude.
should do like an episode of, do you know, they call him Alpha M. What's his name? He's like the dude lifestyle guy, whatever. You're kind of reminding me of him right now, and you should totally do some funny videos.
Let's go.
Of like, this is how to not be in total dweeb. Like
over the next week, we got to do that.
Yeah.
Before release, we got to do
Yes.
that because you'll be released next Friday, a week
really?
from today.
Woo!
So next week we'll do some funny videos like that for
boom.
sure.
I love it.
Okay, so don't wear freaking camouflage.
Sorry, I just remembered what I was going to piggyback off
Let's
of.
hear it. E.T.
So, so often people just assume they have the skills needed. And we just like think that it's in our DNA that like one day the right person's going to walk to my doorstep and I'm just going to have all of the skills in my tool belt needed to have a successful relationship in life. And it's like, well, how often in life can we just show up and nail it on the first try? Like it doesn't really happen. And in order to be successful, we need to have so many parts in place and we need to practice those and be familiar with it. There's a power. It's empowering to be familiar with things. So that's why a lot of my worst first dates were, they were just like, oh, I never do this. Therefore I was this like unicorn to them. And they're like, oh my gosh, like this, I'm on a date. Like, wow. And I'm like, bro, like cool it. It's okay. Like to me, it was so, not that I'm like really, I don't want to say like, oh, I do this all the time, but like it low key was a hobby for a while. And so that
You treated it like a craft though, to grow. A craft
snaps.
to grow.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It was kind of honing in my craft. Absolutely.
And that's the literal meaning of putting in your hours.
Yep.
You were putting in your hours not to find an end all be all or to have a ring by spring, but to hone your personability and to actually learn about yourself too.
Yeah.
Where can I improve?
Absolutely.
I was thinking while you were talking, there is one key component that I think is undermined way too much, and we've talked about this: a stable father figure.
Oh,
for males and females, because think about that. Females oftentimes date who their dad is. They do.
Yep.
And when you are a confident, well put together man of a household, well, one, your daughter's going to attract that. She's going to seek that. And if you're raising boys, you're going to raise that.
Ooh, snap.
Who
I love that.
is able to hold his own when he's in social circles, possibly athletically, as well as smarts-wise, and with women.
Yes.
He's going to respect them, and he's going to do what it takes to actually be a male figure in a future child's life. And that's why I look at my old coaches, where they were, besides Jeff Moon, he was a complete alcoholic, big red nose, always smelled, divorced household. And then you have all my other, I saw that, and just unstable. And then I was friends with his kids on the same team. My sister's friends with his daughter, and we saw how that all played out. But then on the flip side, you have my other coaches who were teachers, stable households, and then their kids, they're grown up professional athletes and doing well for themselves. And it all stemmed from confidence from the father figure in the household.
Yes, for sure.
And communication, obviously.
I love that. And I think it's so true where men, I'd say it's specifically men these days, there's just a lack of understanding of how to be. Just how to be, you know? And I mean, but rightfully so. It's a very confusing time, and I get that. There's just a lot going on culturally. Yeah. But one of my favorite pieces actually in my company, my website, that I have is it's just 10 practical ways to express modern chivalry. Like, what does that mean, right?
What does that mean?
Ooh, I'll tell you.
Because anytime I hear chivalry, my ears perk up like, yo, you better tell Betty the librarian about this because mommy needs to know. Yeah,
like chivalry itself is so funny because I think nobody really knows what it means, especially this day and age. And if they do, they think it's outdated and they're not understanding the character behind it. And so there's a whole history with chivalry, of course, and it's more than just like the knight in shining armor, but it's a lifestyle. It's a principle. And so by men learning this, and that's kind of where I adopt to coach men is more specifically because they just need someone to explain this in a non-judgmental way. Because they're all these good-hearted guys and they don't know how to actually interact and how to, So so a few examples. Let me think of my list that I have.
10 examples, chivalry.
Well, just some standard, just kind of the standard ones, but I really enjoy breaking them down to like holding doors for people. You would be surprised how many people don't actually either A, understand that, B, do it, or C, do it for someone they're not trying to be attractive to. And that's the thing is like true quality character in men comes from when it's not discriminating against people who aren't the hot chick you're taking out. Like that's when it matters, and that's when people grow true attraction to you, and they really I don't know, it's very attractive
and when it's consistent.
Yes,
which
integrity.
It really kind of like it's beyond planting the initial seed. It is now showing the giving the long-term macro outlook of what kind of stability you're going to have.
Absolutely.
If it's consistent. My wife, for instance, my wife makes the bed. And I love it because it's like, that's her thing. She loves to make the bed. And she's obsessed over it. If I make the freaking bed, I make it wrong. And guess what? We have that kind of relationship where it's like, no, I love that about her. She likes to make the bed. But on the other hand, she likes to have me drive.
Okay.
Just because she just doesn't want to drive.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And if you ever saw her park, you would understand why. Sorry, honey. But it's things like that where like you kind of over time, you just have this, this like unwritten agreement of how your relationship can remain symbiotic, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I'll tell you a story. My wife and I's first date.
Ooh, here we go.
7 years ago, okay?
Okay.
Over 7 years ago. She picks me up.
Ooh, okay.
I live downtown, and we were going like 3 blocks to the Peace Plaza to watch a movie in the park.
Okay.
And I think that's why we agreed to have her pick me up, because she was going to come over, grab me, and then we just go down. She was so nervous. She ran 4 red lights in a row.
No.
And it was so weird, because it was like she ran the first one, and it was like you kind of let it slide, but like it's a first date, so you're not gonna be like, do you realize what you just did?
Yeah.
And then after the second one, I was like,
gosh.
oh my God, you just ran another red light, right? Oh, she's like, I ran the first one. I was like, you just ran 2 in a row, lady. And then it was another one.
Oh my gosh.
To play devil's advocate.
Yeah.
The lights going down this street, they like stack up on one another. So it's kind of confusing if you're looking at the one behind it that's green or whatever. So I give her the benefit of the doubt for the first couple. But then you could tell she was just nervous, and she ran another one and another one. And basically we ran all red lights to get to the Peace Plaza. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is going to go one of 2 ways. And I told myself this that night. I brought an umbrella. I've never done that ever. I don't know why I brought an umbrella. I suppose this is my last first date ever. So on my last first date ever, I brought an umbrella, and it didn't rain. And I think she brought the chairs. But I knew that night I'm either going to never talk to this girl ever again, or she's going to be the one I marry.
Get out of town.
And boom shakalaka. Aww. It was her not being able to drive. That's why we got married.
That's the real. That's really sweet.
Yeah.
Wow.
That was it. I didn't even know we were going to talk about that tonight.
I love that. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah. But it's like it's magic like that where I like memorable stories.
Yeah.
So that's why I do epic stuff, because I just do it for the story.
Yeah.
That's why. And I think that's why people take leaps to literally call themselves a first date expert. Well, because I'm capable, one, I'm confident enough to do it, I can communicate, and long term, I know this is going to benefit me because I'm helping so many people.
Yeah. Yep. I love it. ET touch.
You should bust that out at your next first date.
Oh.
And if he doesn't know what you're doing or what you're talking about, kick him out.
For sure.
He got to go.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I love that.
If he doesn't get the ET finger, he got to go.
Totally.
Yep. And if he doesn't put you in the basket in the front of the bike, he got to go.
This is the real. I'll have to add that to my coaching stuff.
Well, I mean, I wanted to talk to you about communication because I heard this quote, and it was actually Sean McVay of the LA Rams talked about this. He preaches communication within the locker room because it creates the most symbiotic team, and then you obviously are able to win championships. You've set yourself up from the ground up because of communication. Where communication lacks is where darkness fills the voids.
Ooh.
Think of that.
I like that.
So you are on a first date, and there's like, when communication has barriers within a date where it's like real surfaced and there's no like egg cracking, you're not getting below the surface, and it might be both parties, it might be one or the other, but the importance of communication is what's causing that halt.
Yeah.
Can you explain to people the importance of communication, especially to males who are looking to find a future soulmate?
100%. I think communication can't be addressed until we talk about, do you know yourself? And that's a really big one where I would say I won't say most, a lot of people don't know themselves, and they don't know how to know themselves. They don't know what that means, and they don't know how to really connect with themselves on a deep enough of a level where they can actually express, this is what I'm feeling, this is who I am, this is what I want. And it's not only what I want in a partner, but it's what do I want in life, and be someone that has opinions, be someone that has, I like that kind of ice cream, not just whatever kind you like, and all of that. I believe communication is grounded in, do we know ourselves and what are our internal values? And then that can come out with because I know who I am, I want to honor who you are, and now I will communicate effectively. Because often people are just going through the motions, and it's like, if you're going through the motions, you're not really communicating. You're just talking. There's a difference.
Self-awareness and having a backbone.
Yeah.
ET
Absolutely.
touch.
ET touch to that.
Gold. That was gold. Okay,
Yeah,
so where can
you.
people reach you?
Where can they reach me?
Where can they get your help?
My help. Well, I am on Instagram, so Katie Sir, and then I have a website. It's called liveandlearnwithkatiesir.com. And through there, I have a 3-part company. And so I do consulting, and I do also do a lot of health consulting too with my journey of that. But in regards to just life coaching, and I actually call it life consulting because I like to give advice. And so where a proper life coach is not allowed to do that. So I get to do that. And then I have a membership program that I do, and that's called an And Love membership, and it's basically access to an exclusive blog. And that's where I really break down. That's where my chivalry stuff is. That's where good first date ideas are, and there's kind of different practices to start diving into. And then I just have a regular blog as well that I do, and I'm adding courses and things like that as well. So that's how you can work with me, and I am really just excited to be on this journey and to help as many people have the tools so that they can help themselves be successful and do the 4 A's, go through the process of you're trying and you're assessing and you're adjusting, and then you attempt again. And I just really believe that. And if people need help breaking down what that looks like for them, that's where I come in. I'd be happy to lend a hand.
Thinking deeper about this, someone like you can literally save lives, and you never know. And it might not be
I love that.
Preventing school shooters, stuff like that.
Right.
It is literally helping people be happy. And if someone ends up happy, you saved a life. Katie?
I feel so touched. Thank you.
Let's go meet some dogs.
Yes, let's do it. Thank you guys.